What's up, guys? In this video we'll be talking about how to play Anchor on A-Site Mirage. A lot of your comments lately have asked for more videos that are similar to this, or I've seen comments saying that you guys like these type of tutorial videos, so I'll be doing more. As usual, if you have any questions or comments about the tips I give, please leave them in the comments. So if you're playing Anchor, generally speaking, you're going to have very similar protocols in the beginning if you want to follow like what the pro meta is. And basically, what I see people doing when they're anchoring A is they'll throw a molly like this. I'm just like, there's like a line right here on the right side of the stairs that I run up and I follow, and then I turn and I aim my crosshair right at that pillar up there and do a running throw, and that's gonna molly A ramp for you. Generally speaking, um, you get a molly on A ramp early on to prevent any type of rushes or an opera peeking. So after you throw this molly, you have a few options. You can throw a nade like that, and I just like to bounce it off that wall right there so that it ends up in this general region, maybe get someone behind the molly, or I'll hold on to my nade. So you can do either or. I would switch it up, each round. But I also like to look to the right and dodge any flashes that they might be throwing up over the A wall. And while this molly is up, I'm going to just peek behind it. And this is a pretty good spot to pre-fire, because if there's going to be someone behind this molly, a lot of the times they're going to be right here near the wall. So basically, you have the sound of the molly covering up your advance right here, and you can peek around and take a look, and you have a pretty good advantage on anyone, on a gunfight against anyone like that. Plus, if you threw a nade deep and it got them back there, you're going to have an HP advantage as well. So what you're doing, though, is just maybe trying to get an early kill, but getting info to see if they're going to be doing anything towards A, or if there's any players toward A. And after the molly phase, you can sit here and wait for a little bit, and if they do the A smokes, you'll see the shadows of the nades fly over the wall there, and then you could like aim right here and then right click a smoke right when those 3 nades come over, and then that kind of shuts down their execution. If you're chilling here and you don't hear anything, you can still just right click that smoke and then kind of walk away and make sure you keep an eye on Palace when you're getting out, and then you can get into one of your angles. There's some good angles to play on A site, and there's some really bad ones, so we're going to go over kind of what's good and what's bad. So the first angle I want to talk about is ticket. You'll see a lot of A anchor players on pro teams end up at ticket a lot of the rounds on CT. It's just a very good angle, and it allows you to watch Palace and A ramp, giving your connector player the ability to help middle or check underpass. So something you'll see a lot of players do is kind of do these like peaks where they'll peek Palace, and then they'll do a jump peek to peek A ramp, and kind of just do this type of thing where I'm checking Palace and I'm checking A ramp, and I'm not really exposing myself too much, so that I don't get like just opt out of nowhere or something from A ramp, because A ramp is not smoked right now, and the molly is down. If you want to smoke A ramp, you can wedge yourself right here. I just kind of like to do it like this. And then there's a little mark on the box right here. You just do a one click there. Or you can put your shoulder just like right here, and then go in between the 2 pillars right there. Both of those are good A ramp smokes. If you have someone watching A ramp, you can watch Palace at this angle, which is very good because it's just your head is exposed, and when they come out Palace, their whole body will be exposed. But they could just swing out and pre-aim you, like that, or something like that. And if they do that, you could just like instantly die. So I wouldn't recommend just standing here holding it like this. I would do jiggle peeks like this. That way, they're not going to have peeker's advantage on you. You also occasionally, you'll see players do this mid-round, is you can jump up on the ticket booth like this and take a look at connector and middle. That's a pretty good angle for doing that. It's this is a very advantageous fight for you, basically. But you're very exposed to A ramp and Palace, so keep that in mind. Once the A smokes come in, if you're playing ticket, one of the best things you can do is you don't want to be out here when the smokes come up, because a lot of terrorists are gonna come out and there's gonna be flashes and they're all gonna be looking at you, so you could get killed if you're like kind of just standing here waiting for them to come out. Something you can do is if you see the smokes come out, wait a little bit, wait for the smokes to bloom, and then just throw a nade like that. and there's a good chance you'll get multiple players in this area and do a lot of nade damage like that. And then you can throw a very basic, like, just like flash like that, and then cross over to CT side where you can take better fights. You can isolate Palace, anyone coming out of Palace like this, and then you can also isolate fights in these two lanes right here, default or triple. That's a much more advantageous fight for you than going for fights like this. Another reaction you could have if you're playing Ticket and you see the A smokes come over is if you're on this side of the box, it's risky for you to cross over and throw the smokes like I just showed you, right? So what you can do is you see the smokes come over, line up with the center of this little this part of the box right here, and put your crosshair at that pillar, and then go up to where it meets right there. And you can just do a normal click there, and that'll be a good A ramp smoke. So there's multiple ways for you to smoke a ramp, and if you smoke right as those three smokes come over, you have a big advantage against the terrorists, basically. That really helps your team. So the next spot I want to talk about is under balcony. This is a really good spot to play a few times a half. You don't want to play here every round because you can just get mollied out. It's very easy for the terrorists to throw mollies off the A right there. Or, I'm never up here, but I think the molly is just like that. Yeah. So very easy to be mollied out from under there. So that's the risk of playing under balcony. Otherwise, if you don't, like, mollies aside, this is a great place to play. And there's a variety of reasons why. So you can jiggle peek right here and try to catch someone that's jumping up on this box. Because look what happens to my aim. My aim is very tight when I'm, on the ground. But if I have to start shooting while I'm getting up, you can see the bullets start to fly everywhere. So if you can catch someone while they're trying to get up here, which a lot of players do as soon as they come out A ramp, what they want to do is like get up here and then check around like this. If you can catch a player jumping up onto Tetris right there, that's pretty much going to be a guaranteed kill. So something you could do is kill someone right there and then immediately throw a flash, look right here, and then peek around for another kill, or call for flashes from your connector player. But let's talk about, opening rounds. So we talked about the molly there, and then maybe throwing a nade like this. You can pre-fire right there, and then you're gonna just kind of go over here and chill out. Don't reload your gun, because if someone is Palace, they'll hear you reload it. And just kind of chill here and kind of just listen for info. Usually, if someone's in Palace, you can usually hear them. They're usually making noise. I hear noise in Palace all the time when I'm in this position. And if you hear someone in Palace, you still got your smoke. You can just put yourself up against this wall, it doesn't matter where, and just line up right here with the smoke. And that's going to be a great way to smoke Palace, but they're going to probably know that you're under balcony now at this point. Other things about Palace is you'll usually hear them run out and jump down. Usually when they jump down, it's on the left side of this. I don't know why, but I've just always seen players when they jump down, they'll be right here. They just very rarely will go all the way across and then drop down like that. So if you hear someone Palace and you expect them to drop down on you, I would go ahead and just be like aiming right in this general direction right here, because that's probably where they're going to drop. It's kind of just a weird thing that I've noticed over time. The other angle you see a lot is someone doing something like this, jumping up, shift walking up the ladder, and then taking a position like this. Now what's good about this spot is you might be able to catch someone off guard coming out of Palace, but you're also not exposed to Tetris or A ramp in this spot. A lot of people will go deep right here, but you don't have to go that deep. You can be flush with this angle right here, and you're still not exposed to Tetris. But you have to be very careful, because if they can come out of A ramp, like if A ramp's not being watched by someone, you're put into a tough spot, because you don't want to have to take fights like this. That's like impossible. But occasionally, especially on like a pistol armor buy, this is a decent place to play. So the next spot we're going to go over is this one right here. So we'll do just a opening utility set and then get right here. And this is a really cool angle, because you're going to see their heads come across when they come out. and they're probably not going to see you. And if you see them come out, you can throw this molly right here. So what I'm looking at is just this dot right here on the wood of the default box. The way I find it is I find the line right here that meets the very top of the wood and come over just a little bit and throw a molly like that. And when it lands, I'll peek and try to catch someone in this Chetus region that's trying to get out of the fire. While it's burning them, you can just spray them down, get a good kill that way, and then maybe worry about Palace. If the guy Palace swings out, you have a big advantage with the fight against him as well. Another cool thing about this spot is there's not really a call out for it. Like, this is Firebox, but if they call Firebox, they're going to think you're over here. So it's just something that's kind of cool. A decent spot to play. Another good place to play is this angle. Actually, let me grab the AUG. The other cool angle to play is right here. So after you throw your opening utility set, you can just post up and chill right here. I like to put my crosshair right on this spot here. The reason this is a cool spot is A, it's an off angle. They're not going to expect you to be here. B, if someone comes out Palace, this isn't really a spot that people look when they come out Palace. If they come out Palace, they're checking like jungle, stairs, sandwich, and then working their way to triple, and then they'll probably go firebox after triple and pass you completely right there, and then you'll have a nice fight with them and kill them right there. I like using the AUG in this spot because you can scope in and take a look at the, you just get more of a zoomed in view for this angle right here when they're jumping up on the Tetris. So that's a cool spot to play as well. That basically covers the best places to play on A. I wouldn't recommend playing the default box because you basically have like maybe like a 40-60 fight, 40% chance you win, 60% chance they win fight against T-side players that are coming out A ramp and you're just like right here. Someone can swing out Palace while you're doing that, and they'll just murder you because you're focusing right here. And you're also exposed to stairs unless you're like up against here, but then you're like, it's just kind of a really awkward, weird place to fight, and you don't really have anywhere to fall back to, except for like maybe like right here. But it's just not wonderful to swing out and fight. You definitely never want to fight A ramp from this angle right here. This is really bad for you because of the way the view models work. You have a right-handed view model, so like right now the left side of my body is very exposed and not covered. The problem with triple's cool because you can isolate A ramp and not be exposed to Palace, and then look at Palace like this. But the problem with triple is if you lose mid or if they get out mid, you're in a really tough spot. You're gonna have to come around to ticket. And the other thing is if you like do something like this and flash and then get a kill, they're gonna call that you're there, and all the terrorists are just gonna spam this box because it's a fully spammable box. See, all the bullets are going through the box. So really rough place to play from. I would not recommend it. Ninja is decent if someone's watching your A ramp, but not a great place to fall back to, or there's nowhere to fall back to really. And I wouldn't recommend Firebox for the same reason. You can maybe hide here with a CZ and maybe catch someone off guard when they come out, but not as optimal as the other angles we went over. Oh, and then Sandwich. Problem with Sandwich is it's hard to fight anyone Palace, and if they come out A ramp, they're basically going to be like, when they're coming out A ramp, they're probably going to be like drilled in on your location, or they're even going to molly it off. So that's a big problem right there with playing Sandwich. So we've gone over the best places to play from. I would recommend playing from the good angles and playing smart. You'll see your KD increase because of that. So let's go through a what if scenario, because the big what if scenario for playing A side is what if my connector player dies? Or what if my window player dies, my connector player has to go in window, and then my window player says, hey, they're going up con right now. What do you do? The problem with the hero play of coming, and we're assuming that we're playing from triple. We'll start with that. The problem with like the hero play of coming out and checking this is that once you check right here, like you really need, first of all, if you're going to do this, you're very exposed to Palace and A ramp when you're coming up, but you need to make sure you're being very methodical. You don't want to just come out right here and then expose yourself. to all of these spots they could be. They could be in all of those places. I mean, they could be right here. They could be out. And then they could be, you know, all over the place right here. Probably not that close, but when you come out, you don't want to just swing wide and check. If you do have to check this, make sure you're being methodical and checking slowly. But not wonderful there. I would say what you could do is you could watch stairs like this and tell them, yo, they could be on A side, I can't watch it. Maybe do like a check like that and then watch stairs. Or you can just kind of give up the site and go back here. That would be the best way to do it in a competitive game, especially if you're doing pre-made 5v5s, because you're the A anchor. It's your job to not die. Your number one priority is to live, because if they take A site and they push CT and get CT control, terrorists have won the round. So your number one priority is to slow down an A execute, stay alive, and make sure they can't push CT and take CT control. That's why it's important to not expose yourself to too much action, use utility smartly, and yeah, again, just stay alive. So let's say you're playing under balcony. If you're playing under balcony and you lose mid, there's a few things you can do. You could just chill right here and hope that they don't pre-aim you when they come out, and be ready for someone to come out palace and drop down right here. But something else you could do is, since you're up closer to this wall here, if they take mid, what you could do is come out around here and then clear out a ramp. If you can clear out a ramp and then get into a ramp, you've now not only gained map control for your team, but if the terrorists come up connector and start planning on A, you could stop the plant, kill a player or two, back off, and then now you're a huge problem for them. You can throw flashes over, you can take fights for anyone that's trying to push for you. You're just a big thorn in their sides if you do that. So that's definitely a good play you can do if you're playing under balcony. The last thing we'll talk about is, what do you do if they do A smokes and you're playing ticket and you get smoked off? If you get smoked off, it's good to just throw a nade, maybe get some damage. If you hear them try to plant, you could try and spam through the smoke and kill the planter. But the best thing to do is to, if you have an op, peeking over this is decent, but you don't want to get too greedy peeking over the smoke, because a lot of players will be expecting it. Now, if there's a lot of action going on site and they're getting into a lot of gunfights with people stairs or connector, then this play, jumping into the smoke and looking into it, trying to look over it, becomes a much better play. But basically, you just need to make sure that they can't take CT control for your from your team. So you need to make sure you're protecting CT, so that when your B players rotate in, you guys can use utility and take site, retake site basically. And it's much easier for CTs to retake A site on Mirage if you have CT control. So very, very important that you keep that. Last little tidbit is, if you're rotating B, you can throw a flash into B site. You can tell, hey, I can flash B. Throw a flash like that. And as you can see, that's a really good pot flash for B site. It gets a lot of people blind on B site. And someone on B might get a lot of useful peaks off of that flash. That basically covers it, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section of the video. And thanks for watching.